Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meekin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.
You got me headed to the left, headed to the right, headed back and forth, but baby, it's alright. You got me going to the east, going to the west, going up and down, cause baby, you know best. All day, all night, running around, I'm never gonna stop because you never settle down. Got me shooting into space, flying at the sun. I'm never coming back, cause baby, you're the...
Good evening, America. Good evening, world. It's October 31st, 2025, and this show is coming to you from the great state of Arizona. This is Continue Mission Radio on the Veteran Channel. For almost a decade, Continue Mission has been produced by veterans for veterans. Captain James McCormick is the leader of our wolf pack. I am Val Olson, and I'm here today at my kitchen table, as usual, with Captain James and the one, the only, Greg Meekin. So let's light the fuse, buckle up, everyone, and welcome back to Continue Mission. Greg Meekin, what is on your heart tonight?
Oh my God, Val Olson. Miss Val, our military radio gal. You always ask me what's on my heart, and I guess it's just that I don't know. Every more years that I do radio, and the more years I do business, I always say to myself, don't plan anything. Make goals but not plans. Once again, this show is great. This is a true rapid deployment where we're coming alive. It is you and me, Val Olson and Greg Meekin, just like the old days. We have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful radio show called Continue Mission, and it is platformed on the Veteran Channel. And really, what's on my heart right now is almost every week. It's just a crazy world out there, like I've never seen before in my life, ever, ever, ever. I won't get into a monologue too early here, Val. It's just a crazy world out there, and almost everybody I know is just saying, is this insanity or are we imagining it? Because all the people I know, and even the younger generations and stuff, we were raised with sanity, where we didn't go to the television every day and hear stuff we've never heard before. Again, I won't get into a monologue, but I would just say it's really to everybody out there, the listeners, the viewers, the readers of our work, is just that no, you're not imagining it. You're not imagining it. It is a crazy world. And I've said before, Val, you know this. I think it is. I think it is a quote quickening, a Earth, pivoting on its axis or something. And either way, just the short message of the day is you're not imagining it. Just hang in there. Let's get through this wave. I still think it's just a red wave tsunami that'll go through the 2026 election. I still think it's a wave towards a common sense 1950s handshake world, but you're not imagining it. It is crazy. I catch myself even arguing in my head to stuff I hear on TV and arguments, these crazy things coming from the left now. Again, I've said it 3 times now. I'm not going to get into it. But to everybody out there, no, you're not insane. We're hanging in there. Just hang in there. Keep plowing, as they say, one day at a time, one step at a time. And we all are going to get through this. By the grace of God, go we. We're all going to get through this. And in the meantime, I really mean, and I'm trying to say this to myself, just sit back and enjoy the popcorn. Watch the show. I do believe that it is going to be a real cornerstone in American history these years. And probably hear about them as like the Trump era, something like that. But the bigger our messages get as far as what's going on in the country and the world and how crazy it is, the smaller the message always gets. It's still all about the home front and just keeping peace and just peace and harmony within your house, within your community, your close friends, your SRFs, as we call them, Val, our Stark Raving fans. So the bigger I get, the smaller I stay, and I'm really happy about that. But it's a Friday night, my favorite night of the week throughout my life. Second favorite day other than Christmas Eve. I love Christmas Eve, favorite. But Fridays I love because I've always said it's really a time to kick back. The week is over, everybody. We're coming into a weekend. It's Friday evening back east. Continue Mission used to always run. It's so cool on Friday nights, and you really would. You'd kick back, listen to really good chat, interesting chat. After you finish a show like this, you, as Val Wilson has said, you'll be smarter. You'll be smarter, and you might even laugh a little bit. But bottom line, happy Friday to everybody. Let's kick back. Let's take a breath from the crazy nonsense out there. And just stay small, as they say. Stay small. Back to you. Take a couple of minutes here, Val.
I'm going to unpack that because what does it mean to stay small? At first, when you gave me that advice, I don't know, probably 4 years ago, I didn't understand exactly what did it mean to stay small. So from 4 years ago to today, what does that mean? Well, now I can teach on staying small and the significance that plays in my life. It means you cannot forget about the small steps and the most important things, and you have to prioritize in your life. What are your goals? And you need to let peace lead. And if you don't have it together at home, you're not going to have it together anywhere else. So I really relish in the staying small. That's who I am. It means that you have the ability to be present. You're present and accounted for. And you're all in on something. You can't fake things anymore. Greg was just talking about how to handle setbacks or last minute things. Well, you have to be prepared. You have to be of a sound mind, but you have to be present. And without that, if you do not have a sound mind, you kind of get swallowed up by the world. So the importance of staying small and not taking on everything and being every one to somebody, but making sure that you're in check, put your own oxygen mask on first, kind of thing. All those things contribute to staying small. And I find I have so much peace in times of turbulence because I come back to that. And this is a radio show that delivers. We are here for you. So it's Friday night, and you might be watching this on replay, perhaps on Greg Meekin's YouTube channel. If you haven't visited or stopped by Greg's YouTube channel, do that. He's had over 1 million views. He has quick little snippets of the best of content. And Greg has so much great advice that I have taken to heart and use and rely on. So, Greg, I hope you can teach on staying small and what that looks like in your life while we have a few minutes.
Wow, there's a topic to start the show. I did not do show prep when I got up this morning, saying, you know what, let's talk about being small. but it's a daily principle. It's a daily principle. I'll tell you what, the people that really understand this are people that can never get it again. They can't be small again because they're too big. They're too famous. They're too rich. And I say there's even advice for those guys too. But small to me means just really be able to always be it's always be able to make your own decisions, always be independent, so that you are not controlled by others. There's a principle I adopted real young in real estate investing. and business. What's that? And that was, if I couldn't do it alone, just with my own cash and leverage, if I couldn't do it alone, I wouldn't do it. And you'll hear, boy, I'll tell you what, this is a show for an entire day. You'll hear out there kind of the the good of wonderful partnerships, but also the real bad of partnerships. And I was reticent always to go into partnerships and stuff for that reason, just to be able to stay independent. And there are a lot of business guys out there that have that principle as well. But in that principle, it simply means you're your own person. And when I say small, I even physically mean it too. I've told you, Val, I'm in a little 2-bedroom condo in Arizona City, Arizona. It's as small and cute as you get. And that's all I need. That's all I need. I used to joke. I joked to folks. It's one of the first times in my life I haven't owned property, and I've said I don't need to have my name on any deed at all. I don't need the practice. I don't need the practice, but it still is hand in hand with that stay small thing. So really, what it means to everybody out there, small to me means whoever you have close in your life, your partner, your companion, your kids, your pets. And what I've said before is that circle of trust. A lot of older guys will relate. A lot of business guys will relate. The older you get, the smaller your kind of inner circle becomes. Because honestly, it's a trust thing as much as anything. It's just a trust thing. Very often I've had my stories, all business guys have had their stories, most folks. In media, we've got their stories where you just trusted someone. You thought that you're going to be friends forever, partners forever, whatever. And then in 1 second, it can change. So if stay small to me is not only just a mindset, keep things simple, keep things in life simple, don't overcomplicate. I almost said when I retired, I said, I'm going to make a policy that I'm never going to pay an attorney any money again, or maybe even accountant. But so it's really, it's almost, it's a spiritual thing. Stay simple in your life, spiritual, and it is answerable to God. It's Jesus, man. Stay right there. It's a direct relationship. And also, and stay small in your life, or whoever your circle is, but stay small in your spirit as well. Just keeping things focused. Does that that's a long monologue.
That's
Does that
so
kind of
good.
explain that concept, Val?
Yes.
There are really a lot of people that
So
really
good.
understand that,
I never heard that before. Having a mentor is pretty life-changing. And for those of you watching, you've probably heard Greg and I talk about this. Just how you came into my life, and the role you've played, and the wisdom that you've shared with me. For those of you that haven't had a mentor in your life, I encourage you to find one, to get one. And this is something that we need. We need to have that generational transfer of information and knowledge and accountability. And having that trust group is vital. I mean, we're calling it a wolf pack, which is really cute. Why don't you take a minute? Why don't you take a minute and tell me where I'm positioned in the wolf pack? Am I at the front, the middle, the back? Because I'm part of the wolf pack. And so are you at home. We're actively recruiting friends. So I'll let you know there's room in the wolf pack. Go ahead, Greg. Take a minute.
That's great. I brought up that word just before the show because it occurred to me that we've got such a great team here in Arizona. We've talked about it a lot. I won't get into it deeply here, but Arizona, we call it AZ48. We're a little team here. And we really rallied together as a little team like 4 years ago, really at a purpose at that time of really promoting the Alberta USA, or Alberta 51 movement. And so this little team formed, and it again is kind of like the brainstorm of an old retired guy 5 years ago. It's like you still can't get your mind out of putting together teams and doing business, whatever. You will for the rest of your life. But all of a sudden, I just kind of started getting to know folks and pulling together folks, and just like-minded people like you, Val, and you were like the first. And we connected, and it was cool. And we say, oh, we're both in Arizona. Oh, welcome to the little wolf pack. because who followed along and who came on board was Sheriff Mark Lamb, Captain James McCormick, who really is the founder of this show and stuff. We'll hear from James later. Gordon Kessler up in Alberta. People like Andre Fournier. I still love it, Andre Fournier. He invented caller ID. He hates it when I say that, but he just did. GPS. So you got Andre Fournier. We've got Art Sutherland, the ice maker, one of the Iceman, where he's building the ice for this winter's Olympics. Val, he goes back to Lake Placid as far as building all the rinks for all the Olympics. These are all Pastor Nathaniel Rios. It's part of our little wolf pack, kind of advisory or what have you. And he is just an amazing pastor down in Oxford, Mississippi. So all of a sudden we say, wow, what a nice little team. What a nice little team. And so, as I say, I'm going to rebrand it. Probably we called ourselves AZ48 and Alberta 51, sister states. But the mission continues forward as a little team, no matter what, whether it's formally or informally. You're going to see us involved, whether it's as a team or as individuals, really pursuing what I say, GFF, Sheriff Mark Lamb's favorite expression, God, family, freedom. God, family, freedom. And I had recommitted my own personal brand, if you will, last year to getting away from politics, the nasty, dirty politics, and just shows that are totally just, I just say copy paste arguments about politics. And no one changes their mind. Pivoting my brand to be more broadcasting and in print as mentorship. Actually, it's fatherhood, mentorship, and hockey. And for me, it's hockey. For anyone out there, it can be whatever you love, just whatever you love. Fatherhood, mentorship, and hockey is what I kind of just devote my life to. And that includes fabulous relationships I've had with people like you, Val Olson, for 4 years. It's just been an incredible ride as far as helping you and vice versa. I said to Mark Lamb once this was a long time ago, 5 years ago. I said to him at one point, I said, I kind of feel he has so much to share, and such a successful guy. I said, I kind of feel like either you're my mentor or I'm yours. Not sure, but either way. Side note, I'm going to digress there because I just got a text, small world, from Mark Lamb, Sheriff Lamb. This just before the show, but he had planned on coming on tonight, and he's a very busy boy. He was unable to, but he had said, hey Greg, please tell Val, James, and everyone in the audience hello from me and Janelle, and tell them we are working hard to get to Congress and try to bring some sanity to this country! ! Also, my YouTube video, this was great. I saw this today. Mark's got a great YouTube channel. My YouTube video just dropped today that Janelle and I did together. You'll want to catch that one, Val. And his YouTube channel is at Real American Sheriff. So that's Real American Sheriff, just like it sounds. So that's a reach out to everybody from Mark and Janelle Lamb. So that was on the mentorship subject. But I really will. I'll elaborate what you've said. And you've heard me say many times, Val, many times. All young people out there, find a mentor or two. I really mean it. No matter how young you are. First formal mentor I ever had, I can't believe it, I was 12 years old, a football player. I've been trying to give him my football coach, Claude Burnett, French-Canadian guy, 12 years old, first mentor. We literally Friday nights before the Saturday game, we would meet, we would talk just motivational stuff, football, whatever. And so Claude Burnett, I can't believe I brought up his name here, but I'm actually want to do an interview with him one of these days. But have a mentor and assertively find mentors. If you are stuck in life, or God, we have so many times in our lives where we're stuck, where don't know what direction to take, frustrated with ourselves, whatever. Always have someone there, hopefully that's more experienced than you, that can just walk you through it. You'll get, I always say, 5 minutes with a mentor can beat 3 days of Googling looking for an answer. So, but I specifically look, okay, I'm going to give you an example, Val. You don't mind if I digress, because we've got
You
plenty.
just take your time. This is fantastic.
You got me. So, and I mean this. So, and I put the onus on young guys, especially these Gen Zs and actually alpha guys. Alpha kids now are they're turning like 16, Val. So these young guys, especially in their 20s, I would say just go look for them. Here's an example. I was always an ambitious young man, and when I was 18 years old, I remember this, 18 years old, I was in the Montreal airport having dinner with my then girlfriend. And we're always, Montreal, if people don't know, is a very sophisticated town. We were raised really sophisticated. I had a 3-piece suit on when I was 18 years old, having dinner at the Hilton. And there were a lot of us like that. We were very just sophisticated, and I love it. The drinking age was 18. The bars were open till 3. We were being served when we were 15 years old without ID. So a very, shall we say, liberal type of town. And I was 18 years old, and I remember I was working real hard as a warehouse kid or something. I always worked hard from when I was 15, 16 years old. And I was at one of those tipping points in life, 18, where I was right in between college, thinking about whether it's high school, coming out of high school. I graduated quite well, 3.2 GPA, and going through the questions in life, existential questions, college versus career versus partying down like an 18-year-old. And I was sitting there having dinner, and across the room there was a table with probably about 6 or 8 executives. And I had told my girlfriend, excuse me for just a quick second, and I had watched them for a while and got feel these were high-end, high-running businessmen who were having full dinner at the Hilton. And I remember walking over to him, because I identified at that time who was the leader of the pack. You can always tell who's the leader of any group. And I walked straight up to him. I think he was at the head of the table, but I just walked straight up to him. And I said, "Hi, you appear to be the leader of this group." I kid you not, Val. I can't believe I ever shared. I don't think I shared this story with you. And I said, "My name's Greg Meekin. I live locally here in Dorval, and just graduated high school, but I'm a little lost right now. I want some advice. What would you suggest for a young businessman to do, literally like starting tomorrow, if you wanted to succeed?" It was like that. What would you suggest? What would you tell me? What would you tell me to do? It's great. By the way, he loved that. He couldn't believe, he's basically saying, "Look at this kid," right? 18. And his name was James C. Gardner. He was vice president of Westinghouse Canada. And James C. Gardner, I really liked him. And he said, "I'll tell you what to do, Greg. Go to an Ontario-based community college for business." Just specifically like that. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't go do the university. You go to community college. He said this, and get business. It's like an associate's that we know of. Get in business. And he said, then when you graduate, here's my card. Call me. You have a position with Westinghouse. And I can't believe I shared that story. And it turns out, Val, sad. It's almost the story of my life, though. I kid you not. I called him. I remember in my 20s, maybe my early 20s. He had died. He'd passed on. So it was one of those, not a sad story, but the net of that is look for mentors, look for teachers. Save yourself some time. They can save you 10 or 20 years of wasted time. But also the right mentors, the right teachers, and so to this day, I am mentor to like dozens of people, all age groups. And I have at least a half dozen, maybe more mentors of mine, most of them now, a lot of them in their 80s and 90s. So just a good practice to get into. And I think you'll hear more and more of this as these next few years go on. This is something like Charlie Kirk would love. Because honestly, the learning that you get not only from connecting with people, but just the resources we have available to us now. You can learn anything you want, and it doesn't have to be from a professor. So,
Okay, I want to ask one quick question because when you did share that story with me, and I remember I probably asked you, so really you went up to this table and like you can't do that, Greg. You're not supposed to do that. There's a way to do things. You don't just go right to the top. Do you remember me saying that? And I remember you saying, I'm going to teach you how to do that. And
whoa, nice.
that's a good lesson in life. But I know prior to meeting you, I probably wouldn't have went over to the table. And now, yeah, I'd make a point to stop at the table.
It sounds cliche to say it's just assertiveness. You have to be assertive, blah, blah, but it's more than that. You have to be so wholly confident in your mission and what you're doing, and also fearless. Fearless
like a
just
lion.
we'll cue that up in a second. Fearless, because ask any true professional sales guy. Ask anyone. You're rejected all the time. You're said no to all the time. You're told that you can't go to the table. You're told that there's rules and protocols that you just have to follow. And you have the wrong mentor if that's the way it is. Because a mentor says, as you've heard before, Val, if it ain't broke, break it. No, keep working on stuff. Keep working on stuff. You love that, baby. You know what? What the heck? Let's go. Do you have I feel like a lion tonight after all. Okay, Val, go ahead, play the video. It's great.
You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Get this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. He's
It's a little technical thing. thing here. Be a lion. Be a lion, and everybody, especially you young men, be a lion. Don't be afraid. Because if you are afraid, if you're shy, if you think you don't deserve nice things, the world will just run over you. They will just run over you. But be a lion. I really love that video because it so reminds me of, shall we say, older guys that are needing to retool in life, because you really do feel like that sometimes. Say just, it's not time to be quiet. It's not time to be laid back. It's time to get out there and be a lion. So Val, take the mic, take a few minutes here, Val. Definitely introduce everybody to kind of who we are, a little bit of our history and stuff. Take a few minutes. I've been chatting a lot already, but we've got fun stuff coming up. At the top of the next hour, we're going to have Captain James McCormick, who will be on. Val, you can talk about him a little bit, but just take people back a little bit to kind of our origins as far as broadcasting together and how we got here on Continue Mission. Go ahead, Val.
All right. Well, so we're thrilled to be here on Continue Mission. So the Veteran Channel is new. And if you aren't following us on Roku, Prime, also Apple, then you need to do that. You can also find us on replay through YouTube on Greg Meekin's YouTube channel or on his website, Greg. And us. A big important spot is on Amazon, where you can purchase Greg's book. I don't want to stop you from getting that book in time for Christmas. So take a minute and you can check it out on Amazon. And also Captain James McCormick's book is available. But it's time to think about Christmas shopping. And if you have been following Greg for a while, you haven't purchased his book, it's always a good time to do that. It makes a perfect Christmas gift. I've read Greg's book, his first one, which is hard to find. I've read it 9 times. It's the one with the red cover. So for those of you that are following the show Secrets from the Inside, this is the first one. This is what put Greg on the map as a author. Secrets from the Inside. He did some radio stops, and I've read this 9 times, so I can tell you how to save money when you're going to buy a car. It still works today. My car is almost on its last leg, so I'm going to apply some of the principles from Secrets from the Inside, but also Why I Came to America and What I Think Now is a great one, and it's the one that I say it's where to start. Many Albertans have purchased the book. It's hard to get the book into Canada. It's hard to get information into Canada. It's kind of like the drop zone. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. So, no guarantees. I'm saying order it now so that it arrives for Christmas, but that's pushing it, because I did speak to some Canadians who said it took over 14 weeks to get a package from Arizona to Alberta. So if we go back in time, that's like, I don't know. That's before snail mail. That's when they used to ride on horseback. I think they were even faster. But this is a reality. So books like Greg's, I'm in all seriousness, if you do want it in time for Christmas to arrive in Canada, don't delay. Like, I'm giving you some sage advice here. Captain James, his is on Amazon as well. Battle Tested Faith, and he'll be stopping in on the show after 6:00. But his book's available too. Other housekeeping that I just want to take a minute and cover off, Greg. The Veteran Channel, I said, is featured on Apple TV, Amazon TV, Roku, your YouTube channel, Facebook pages. The Veteran Channel airs live every Friday. So right now we are live all across the country and 24/7 replays. Why should you invest time in catching replays? Because we don't waste time here. We have important information that affects your life. If you are a veteran and you're running into issues or problems, we do have some direct phone lines set up where we can help, right? We can make a phone call. We can attend meetings. We're attending meetings in Washington regularly. Hi to our friends in Washington. But more than that, we want to hear what's going on. I'm an obsessive fact checker to the point it gets me in a lot of trouble and yelled at a lot. But I'm not going to stop. When I have questions, I'm going to ask questions. And if there's something going on in your world that we need to know about, definitely we are a stop, a vital stop. And we will hunt down and get you answers to your questions. Back to you, Greg.
Fun, good stuff. We go back, Val. We go back to the old Twitter Spaces, the very beginning, where you said, "Goodness, what a great platform to be able to collaborate and a community based, obviously listener interaction and stuff, and all the way evolve through what we're doing right now, which is wonderful. We're doing at least one live stream a week." Um, really co-host for the Veteran Channel Continue Mission and stuff, and it's been a wonderful ride. On the sounds funny on the military thing, because this is a veteran channel. I had written down. I just wanted to shout out just a past historical figure, and I want to ask James about this guy. A gentleman named Calvin Graham. Okay, on the military talk, Calvin Graham. This is a guy that enlisted in World War II at 12 years old. 12 years old.
Wow.
12 years old. He not only enlisted in the Navy. I'm bringing this up because I bet you James knows him. I think there's been a movie about him and stuff, but he just popped up on my news feed. I said, I've got to talk about this on the Veteran Channel, because you want to talk veterans, talk about this kid. So he's 12 years old. He gets into the Navy, and he fights in World War II in the Pacific Theater, like Guadalcanal. He got a Purple Heart. And he after the Navy, he ended up enlisting in the Marines, and then he fought in Korea in the earliest days of Korea. Turns out he was outed because he was only 17 during his second tour going into the Marines. Turns out either his sister or his mom outed him to the military, saying he was 12 years old when he got in and stuff. So he ended up being, I think it was dishonorably discharged, but he lost his medals. He lost his medals and stuff because of that. And as it turns out, time was very kind to him, because Ronald Reagan reinstated his personal Purple Heart and stuff. But I can't imagine. I want to research him a little bit. Again, his name's Calvin Graham. Died at about 62 years old, so too young. But once again, people respected him more in posterity than he did. Can you imagine? 12 years old? And he goes into the military. That was like all those Civil War people and stuff. I have one relative that lied about his age to get in the U.S. Navy to be able to fight in World War II. I wasn't on my side of the family, but he was like 17. So once again,
is that a conviction then? Or is that like, there must be something
it's in their
in
DNA.
their DNA.
They're born leaders. It just
Yeah.
is. I can't imagine 12 when you get into 12. But there were lots of kids, especially going way back to the Civil War and stuff. Lots of kids, 14, 15 and stuff that fought. But the message there really is, you're never too young. You're never too young to be a leader. You're never too young to have conviction. You're never too young to not follow the crowd. Because clearly, if a kid's 12 years old, and some of those others amazing stories of youngsters, they're committed. Like you say, Val, they were born with it, a conviction to be a leader, to be a protector of family and friends. So there's just a good old conviction mission message there, especially to youngsters. You'll know, and anyone who watches us knows we talk a lot to the younger generations, because they're the key. Generation Z, they're going to be tomorrow's leaders. That's what Charlie Kirk always used to say. Kids in their teens and 20s, they're the most important people we need to talk to. So this almost came down to a little mentorship lesson again, Val. Be a lion, be a lion.
Yeah.
Right? You're never too young to be a leader. But take it back on that and share any thoughts, any personal thoughts that you have now or anything else, Val. Just take a few minutes for yourself and just catch us up a little bit and share a little bit on your end.
That's really powerful. How to identify a leader, the mindset. I think it must be in your DNA, and you kind of come into contact maybe like because for a 12-year-old to believe that they're called to do something. I have a 13-year-old, and I was saying, like, she feels she's an adult and can drive, and I cannot untalk her out of this. And I finally said, look, like, if you can find an adult to take you to drive, then fine. Well, not only is she convinced grandpa to take her driving, but she's got them to set aside their car so it'll be waiting for her when she can get her driver's license, and she's ready to go. And I had to step back and say, well, if you can find a way, I have to walk this out. And so I find my parenting now is more around that mindset of having been a child that was told no probably five that most kids are told no 5,000 times before they're the age of 5, and that's just textbook, that's what they
Right.
say. I was probably told that by the time I was 3 because I have a lot of questions.
Where did you
But
get yours from, Val? Speaking on that, speaking of your daughters, where did you get yours from? Because you're clearly an out of the box leader. Uh, put it diplomatically.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I chatted with my mom the other day. I said to her, "Wow, like you really did have your hands full, didn't you?" And she looked at me and she's like, "You have no idea." And I think it's true, you can look at your kids, and so often they embody their parents, don't they? How they behave, how they respond, how they act. I see it all the time, but I'm learning to stand back and say, okay, if you can find a way, do it. And that's just what I'm doing with my kids, because it's so easy to say, no, you can't.
Yeah.
No, no, no. And I hate hearing no. We hear no
Yeah. All
all
the
the
time.
time. And it just about makes me sick. Like, and I wait and say, like, when can we talk about the solutions? When can we come up with some ideas? When can we build something? And if we don't have people that are builders or capable of being architects and thinking out of the box and thinking of solutions, we're in trouble. So again, it stays small. It starts at home, but I'm really trying to show my kids and tell my kids, don't do this for me. Do this for
Right.
yourself. Make it happen. And that has changed everything for their self-confidence, also what they know their capabilities. When they make something happen on their own, they are proud. They've earned that. And I spend a lot of time talking about it afterwards,
Sure.
because that's what it's all about, is letting them own it. And we can't just jump in and save our kids. I'm reading a book by Steve Jobs' daughter, and it's so interesting. It's fascinating. I'm only 25% there, but I want to be careful how I'm only 25% in, but I'm reading from the daughter's perspective, being Steve Jobs' daughter. And there's so much entitlement that's creeping through the pages. And you can see that he was trying to teach her lessons, and entitlement, attitude, all of that. And when it can get in you as a child, it's hard to get out. And I say that as a Canadian here in America, and you can see it. You can see it. There is a not just a border that divides us. There is an attitude. There is a way of thinking, and you have to address it. And I've worked with other families that have come from Canada to the United States. And it's fascinating when you hear a teenager, and maybe I'll have him on the show one of these nights, but he and I talk about that often, how his attitude has changed from when he first arrived to now. And so it can have consequences if entitlement creeps in, or you raise your kids entitled. You're going to pay for it. You will pay for it. And if you take the breaks now and you teach them when they're young, these are lessons that they will carry as adults, and I don't think you can skip it. So you and I, Greg, say we wake up in kindergarten every day. We're ready to learn. It's going to be grade 1 soon, but that's the attitude, that's the mindset, that we have to be ready to learn. So I'm thrilled that we have those of you watching at home and you're learning with us. We're learning with you. We are a team. And don't forget, we're actively recruiting. We don't let age be an excuse for anything. So I appreciate all of you who are retired at home. But retirement just means a new set of tires, and it's time to think about your gifts, your talents, and know that this is like the wake up call for you retirees. You are needed, you are wanted, and we need you to saddle up and get back in the ring and take that next generation of people like me that need mentorship, because we are the future, our children are the future, and there's so little time.
Isn't
So
that
little
true?
time.
So little time, because before you know it, you're in first grade. The things you're bringing up here are so important. Raising kids. The toughest thing is letting them learn their own lessons, letting them make their own mistakes. They have to. When they have their heart set on something, and it's a good, safe situation, whatever, but their heart set on something, they're just stubborn and they have to do it. You just have to let them make their own mistakes. And also there's a real big, I think there's a real big element missing in American life right now. And Jordan Peterson brings it up a lot. And it might sound really simple, but it's encouragement. Attaboys. You go, girls. Jordan Peterson had said, I study him so closely, and he had a health issue. I hope he's okay. He had a major health issue in the last few months. But he had always said one thing: his main demographic, very much like Charlie Kirk, is younger men. Gen Zs, millennials, younger men. That's people that gravitate to Jordan Peterson. And he always said the missing link is these kids, especially these boys, they don't get any encouragement. I wrote about this. We live in a culture of critics. I mean, you can get onto American Idol and be a music expert just by texting. You text 10 times to vote for a candidate. What are you, an expert in singing or something? It's a culture of critics. And we're geared to that now of picking at things or being critical of things. Think Yelp. There was never a day where one single kind of activist Karen customer could take down a restaurant, but it's happened. So Jordan Peterson, and this, I know it relates to your kids, because you do, Val. It's just be encouraging. Let them make mistakes. Help pick them up, dust them off. Don't be judgmental if they just brought something, tried something that out of earnest or whatever, trying a new thing. But just attaboys, encouragement. And I hope that there's an era, and there's been so much growth in that. It's really psychological, world for the last 3-4 decades. There's been tremendous growth. But now more than ever, same thing. We just got to get back to the basics. Take care of your kids. Don't be shy of disciplining them. Kids need discipline. They need to know where to draw the line. Encourage them, even if it means failure. Help them up, dust them off if they failed. But in the end, just unconditionally loving younger people and encouraging them. It's amazing. One of the first things, it sounds funny because it sounds, again, so simple. In Saturn, I went through Saturn training, the Saturn and the car company. We've talked about them a lot. And this was 1996. And it was so simple. This was Saturn University. Talk about being forward. They had progressive. They had a university in Nashville, right out of Nashville, Tennessee, Spring Hill, Tennessee, where they sent all their managers and stuff to be trained. It's called Managing the Saturn Difference. And they did change the industry. It sounds funny, but in terms of niceness, I love that. That's a simple word. But I remember our facilitator, we were in the first class, and we went through a whole week of regimen. This is mentorship on steroids, but Saturn teaching you the way business should be done in what will soon be the new millennial. And they were right. But the first thing this facilitator said, it was a great week. She walked up and she said, "You know what, Saturn, we believe it's not what you say, it's how you say it." Just like that. She gave an example. And I was just like, just like that. It sounds simple. But to really deliver it, especially if you tend to be very conservative person, uptight, shall we say uptight or whatever, but it's so important. Sounds funny, but it's so important to be nice to people, and encourage people. Just have that side of you all the time. And so there's my little Saturn story of the day, though, Val. But it's true. What you're talking about your kids is, in the end, just encourage them, and you'll be amazed. You just be amazed how the relationship develops as time goes on. Jordan Peterson says, I can't believe this, but he says, if you're ever down on yourself as a parent, having raised kids, and I put, all of us we baby boomers, we have a lot of regrets and stuff, and seniors raising our kids. But you just said, ask yourself one question. Just one question. Do your kids, as adult kids, would they give you a phone call just to chat, or want to hang out with you? Just want to hang with you? He said, if you have that with your children when you're older, you're one in a million. You're a real special parent, because there's so many. Sadly, I think the majority of families that are estranged in one way or another. But if your kid, just says, if your kids would come and hang out with you, you're a totally successful parent. So there you go. There you go, Val. Back to you on that. Take as much of the mic time as you want. I've just been blabbering here.
I think that's fantastic. And, I think that it doesn't matter what age you are, right? I think parents still play a vital role. And like you said, needing that advice, it's the times that have changed where it's like your kids graduate, get them out of the house as fast as you can. Overnight, they need to know what they're going to do, and they need to get on this train track of almost like a disaster plan. Kids mature at different ages. All kids are different. And I think that just be okay with however whatever your kid needs. And it looks different. There's some kids that need their parents longer than others. And even with estranged, I think that things are workable and fixable. It all depends on, what you want, what the individual wants. So there's lots of hope, and you hear stories all the time of reconciliations. In some cases, that's not always the case, but hopefully you find peace, because I think that's what it's all about, is to get to a place of where you're comfortable, you're happy in your skin, you're happy in what you're doing. And the world doesn't have to look like this dark, dreary place. I mean, it can. There are moments, right? We've all go through those moments, but it's to have an even keel. And we come back to where we started, that staying small, keeping yourself, just living a simple life. And that takes accountability. It takes presence. It takes time. And if you're just starting out, if you happen to stumble on this broadcast and you want more of that, it starts there. It starts with asking yourself, why am I not happy? What's not working in my life? And how do I fix this? Any advice for people watching, maybe in my age range, 40 to 50. So the Gen Xers, they've never had a mentor. Where would they go to find one? How do they do that? Can you, just give some advice or tips?
I've never been asked that. That's very cool. How do you shop mentors? Right? Just go on Google and say, I want a mentor. That's a really good question. Honestly, that's a rare question from a Generation X. I studied Gen X really, really well. They're mostly in their 40s and 50s. By the way, Gen X males are totally different than Gen X females. I'm going to be analyzing the generations to a new level soon. But Generation X, it's interesting you ask that, because where should they go, to find a mentor or learn these lessons? Sounds funny. This is right from my heart. First of all, they need to ask themselves. Okay, because here's a trait of Gen X. You ready, Val? Especially males. They don't think so, but a lot of them tend to know it all. They're really rocking busy in life. I always said Gen X males are running the world. Those are all our world leaders and stuff. But I would say just decide that you actually want to learn. There's a tendency. I'll tell you, this is a great segue here on that issue, because I remember Mark Lamb. Mark Lamb had told us a story at our campfire chat in 2022. He brought up, that was an hour and 15-minute interview around a campfire with Sheriff Mark Lamb before he was even running for the Senate. And he had shared so many things that he's really never talked about publicly. But one thing that I remember real specifically, and it applies to this, he had said that Generation X dropped the ball. I'd never heard it this way. It's very convicting. He said Generation X, again, they're in their 40s and 50s. They were taught, they learned from baby boomers, which is my generation, and of course seniors, which are the older folks. Gen X, generally, they loved their grandparents, and that was seniors. So they learned from this, we call it 1950s handshake world, but the Norman Rockwell world, that's a wonderful life world when things made sense. And so they learned, Gen X has learned from that generation, but for some reason, they seem to have not passed it on to the younger generation. Meaning, if everyone thinks the millennials or Gen Zs, he didn't have regret for himself, because he has just been a tremendous father and stuff. But Generation X as a generation, he said, maybe a little too self-absorbed or into their own thing or know it all, because they've watched their parents, boomers and stuff, make all the mistakes, institutions imploding right before our eyes. Boomers ran up insane personal debt. They had to have two dual incomes. We used to call it DINKs, dual income, no kids, in order to pay for their new lifestyle of debt. And this is baby boomers. And Gen X, a lot of Gen X, especially males, kind of resent the fact that boomers kind of ran the show like that, and as I say, kind of ran the country into debt a little bit with indulgence and materialism. So the Mark's contention was, for whatever reason it seems like Gen X didn't pass it on, because the younger kids sure don't seem like they've had leadership or mentorship. And what do you do then? You decide you want to learn. You decide in your heart that you want to learn and grow and wake up in kindergarten every day. And you'll find, I find this, mentors are all around you if you just ask them. I've always, as a rule, I've always gone to people in usually certain businesses or an area that I really want to get to know or learn. And as my other rule was, go to the top. Amazing mentors that are at the top, because they made it to the top, so they can save you a lot of time of good advice and not making mistakes. But I think they're right in front of you. As funny as it sounds, you'll know leaders out there. You know them, just like we talked earlier. You'll always know who the leader is of a group, and very often they're reluctant leaders. They don't necessarily need to be the leaders. Those are the best leaders. Beware a leader who would take down the whole ship because he can't be captain. There's more and more of those out there right now, especially in Washington, D.C. You want to take down the whole ship because you can't be captain? But I think leaders will show themselves if you reach out to them. A lot of older guys and gals, they're amazing. My number one mentor in my lifetime was a woman, Catherine Martin, who navigated me through alcoholism 25 years ago. So it's, again, it could be any sex, any age, any race, whatever. Mentors, they'll reveal themselves to you, and they'll be touched that you ask them their opinion. Because so many people, honestly, this day and age, so many people just know it all now. Val, seriously. So one is attitude, that you want to learn something, you want to grow, and next, just identify the folks that are out there. Go to groups. I bet you nice church groups out there, athletics groups, and then you just see the leaders. You see, you can find people that you strike up a conversation with, and you just personally connect with them, just like we did, Val. You reached out to me by a phone call, and it started from there. But and very often, not only with mentors, but people who become just close friends and stuff. Sometimes instantly, but just be looking for it. Assertively look for people who can teach you. And as they say, They're right before you. 90% of the time, they're right before you. Can be even in your family or extended family. But you treat it like a process. You say to the people, hey, I'm looking for a mentor, or I really like your advice, whatever. Can I come and ask you a question if I have any issues? Very much like being a pastor. Totally. Pastor's number one mentor out there. Great pastor's number one mentor in the history of mankind. So that was a long-winded answer to say, Val, just to decide that you want to be a mentee, and then just seek out mentors. There you go. You're mute, Val.
Thank you. It is a fine line, between that having confidence and being able to learn. And I remember you saying to me, "Can you follow instructions?" And
That's a simple
what an odd
statement.
question. But I really had to stop and think about that. Can I follow instructions? And the answer is yes. But it took some time, right? I was like the Karate Kid.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. Lots of time.
it took some time. It took some time, but it helped really identify. But it's a fantastic lesson that you gave me that I come back to all the time. And I've even put in emails, just FYI, team, I can follow instructions. It's okay to be assertive, but just know there is a floor here. Just because you can tear up the floorboards, you still are capable of following instructions. So I encourage anyone who hasn't had a mentor to definitely shop it out. And I try with you now. I'm always careful and cautious because you are mentoring so many people. But when I get you on the phone and you answer at 8 a.m, I always smile because I'm like, it's prime real estate, right?
Oh
When I
yeah.
call you at 8 and you answer, it's prime real estate. So I try and keep it brief, keep it under 5 minutes. And that's maybe a tip too for anyone that's entering into having a mentor mentee relationship. Be aware of time, and also you have to do your part. I think that's important. You don't become dependent. And it has a shelf life, so to speak. And I know you still keep in touch with many that you mentor, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm always that's in the back of my mind. Be respectful, be aware. And I do mentor some people from time to time, but I'm very aware that you have to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure, where you become an attachment to them as well, where they pocket dial you for everything. It's like, it doesn't work like that. So you really have to be in the right season and mindset when you're thinking about mentorship or being menteed. There needs to be a book on that. I think maybe that's a book in waiting. I don't know, but there's ways to do it right, ways to do it wrong. I've got an update here. I'm just going to check from Captain James.
I have that he's still traveling.
Yes. So I'm going to just send you what I have here, Greg. I'm going to text and I'm going to talk all at the same time because this is a live radio show. And this is the difference truly between live radio and scripted radio. And, AI is coming for radio. They want to make fake people saying fake things. This is real time, live time. So what I sent you, Greg, there is our last update as of 5:58 p.m. So I'm going to let you make the call.
What we'll do, we're going to wrap the show. Okay, we're going to wrap the show. I'm pretty sure that James cannot make it tonight. This is standard operating procedure for what we do. We have people that can parachute in, parachute out. As I say, Mark Lamb really wanted to make it tonight. James has really been, he's been on busy stuff going on back in DC. And remember, it's 9 o'clock at night back there. So I'm gonna wrap the show. I'm gonna thank you. I know you have other obligations here too, Val. So I thank you for making time. Gonna wrap the show. See you next time, next Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I am Greg Meek, and this is Val Olson. This is Continue Mission Radio on the Veteran Channel. And as I always say, I'll let you wrap here quick, Val, and go with the outro. But as I always say, and we showed you today, wake up in kindergarten every day. There's so much to learn from mentors. and so little time. Because before you know it, you're in first grade. God love you, everyone. Val, take it out.
Thank you, heroes, to our vets. We love you, and your mission starts now.
Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meekin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.